Well, my name is Jennifer Andersen, and I became certified as an iPEC coach in February of 2015. So it's coming up on a year now. And just a little bit about how I got into coaching. Coaching's kind of been a part of my career and in my blood for a very long time without my even realizing it. I started off in my previous life as a high school English teacher, and loved it, loved the opportunity to empower young people through not just education, but also a lot of the rapport that I built with them and the coaching that I was doing without always even fully realizing it. Into my career, about 7 years in, I started to have a family. So I told everybody, when I have this baby, I am going back to work. I love to work. It's in my blood. And they placed this precious child into my arms, and I looked around and I thought, what work? There's no way I can go back to work. Well, I did. I went back part-time because one thing that became really clear to me is I love connection. I love supporting other people. I love collaboration. I love work. I like achieving things. So I did go back to work part-time, but 8 months in, I found out that I was pregnant again. So these crazy things happened somehow. And I made the decision to stay home. Again, that feeling came that, okay, I know that family is really important to me and I want this, but I need to be doing more. I really missed the connection, the collaboration, the work, the achievement, that purpose that, yes, raising a family has immense purpose, but I wanted more. So I became involved in direct sales, and I had the best of both worlds. I was home with my kids, and I ended up having 2 more children. So I have 4 children, and I became involved in direct sales. So I built a multi-million-dollar nationwide team that I was very, very proud of. And part of what made it successful was coaching. I was building leaders and coaching them through the sales process, and it felt really good. That's what I loved. But about a year or 2 ago, I started to become very unhappy and realized that I wasn't honoring my values or boundaries. I didn't have the verbiage necessarily for it at the time, but I was very dissatisfied. So this lack of balance, this burnout started, and it was then that I thought, I love coaching. I love supporting these women. And I made the decision to explore iPEC, get my coaching certification, and then made a very bold move in January of 2015. And while at the top of my company, I walked away in order to pursue coaching full time. So it's been a year, and I'm excited to say that I do have what feels to me like a thriving coaching practice for being a year in. The name of my company is Empower Coaching and Consulting, and it has evolved. And I think that's something that if I had one thing to share with coaches, it's that it is okay for your business to evolve. So I started off thinking that in my current website reflects a business that's totally not what I am right now. But I thought I was going to be a small business coach because of my sales background. But what I really am is I'm a life and leadership coach for women who love to work, and they love their family and their personal lives, and they really want to have personal and professional lives that are truly fulfilled. And that came through just trial and error of coaching people over this past year. I found that by coaching everyone, I do not like coaching people who are seeking relationship coaching and wanting to meet a man. I learned very quickly that was not my thing. There are a lot of different people that I enjoy working with, but the ones I am attracting, and I made it a point to pay attention to who I am attracting and to pay attention to the types of clients and experiences that leave me feeling just as fulfilled as I hope I'm helping them to feel. Those people have been women who are a lot like me. They lead lives very similar, maybe not the same type of life, but they want kind of some of the same things. I happened to be learning a lot from them too. So I have found in this past year that by really putting myself out there, by connecting with women on Facebook, by going to women's networking events. Notice I'm putting myself out there, but I'm very specific as to where I'm going. I love networking events, but not just any networking events, ones that really have the type of people I want to connect with. I joined my Chamber of Commerce. I've found Facebook groups where there are women who love their work, love having balanced lives, and want to have a little more fulfillment without a lot of guilt and overwhelm. So a lot of those women are feeling that right now, and I'm able to connect with them. So putting myself out there has been very, very important. Another thing that I did, and this is a big tip, I'm very multi-passionate. There's so many things that I like, and finding my niche has been really a journey. I am a mom. I could coach moms. I have a huge background in direct selling. I could be a coach for direct sellers. 2 of my children have type 1 juvenile diabetes. Oh, I could coach parents of children with type 1 juvenile diabetes. I could go on and on and on. With all the things that I love. Education, I was a teacher, I could coach teachers. So trying to find what would light me up the most has been a process and a journey. So the things that light me up the most, I love direct sales. I love working with direct sellers, network marketers. Do I want that to be my main thing? Maybe not. So what I did was I connected with the gentleman who has a thriving, huge company that coaches and trains direct sellers. He was my coach. I went through his programs, and I asked him if I could join his coaching team. I was not afraid to ask. I was okay if he said no, because what I had to lose. And he immediately said yes. So I've been contracting coaching with him, which fulfills my love for working with women in direct sales. And then on my own, through Empower Coaching and Consulting, I've been able to take my time while exploring what I really want, getting comfortable in my niche, getting out there and networking, playing around with things. I've created so many workshops and free calls and things that flopped, but I didn't care. It was okay because I learned what worked and what didn't. So I could move on and create one that would work. And I had the confidence, the comfort level, the safety net of knowing that I'm still coaching through this gentleman I contract with, and I'm okay. I was okay. So in this past year, I now have a really comfortable, nice clientele within my own business that I'm building and taking my time to really work with and connect with, as well as contracting with this other gentleman and doing some trainings through a local corporate center, which is exposing me to more people. And it's resulted in this month in January, having an income that's going to actually be more than my Januaries in my direct sales business when I was leading a huge team, nationwide team. I never thought that would happen in my first year, and it is. So now building it to be consistent, that's going to be another piece, but I know now that I can do it. So it's just a matter of applying what I know has worked and continuing onwards. I think handling no's is something that is a very normal, natural fear. I have yet to meet anyone who hasn't had just a little tinge of hang up over the word no. Even the most confident people, I think, still have reservations about hearing that word. It was a big part of my sales background, just taking time to overcome that as well. I don't ever like hearing it, ever. But what I've learned is if I'm hearing no, it means I'm doing something right, which is asking. So if I wasn't hearing no, then I'm not asking enough people. So as long as I am asking people, as long as I'm presenting opportunities to people, I am getting close, the cliche of it, for every no you get closer to a yes and all that, and you have to get enough no's. Well, it's true. And so for me, a no is an opportunity to learn something about either myself and how I'm approaching a person or a situation. It's an opportunity too for me to really explore a little bit further with the potential client, what could have potentially made that a yes, with no pressure, respecting their decision, what would have made this an opportunity that would have been right for you at this time? And, it helps me to really take a look at my coaching practice and that pre-interview, if you want to call it that I have with them. So no is a big step. No is really important, and it does take time. It takes practice. It just takes really getting used to hearing and being okay with. There have been so many people who have told me no, and they've come back to me later for coaching. So I don't take it personally unless they say no, because you really blew it, Jen. There's no way, you were horrible and you made me feel like garbage, and that's never happened. But, I've had people who have done ELIs with me, right out of, when I had my certification, and they thought it was great and they loved it. And I was thought, ooh, you want to coach? And no, it wasn't the right time. And now they're contracted clients. A year later, they've come back. I always encourage people, if they say no, to stay connected with me. So that's perfectly fine. Stay in touch with me. I'll check in with you periodically if that's okay. I ask permission. But I tell them, go to my Facebook page for my business. Like it. Stay connected. See what I'm up to. See what I'm offering. When you're ready, if you're ever ready, then you're connected with me. You know how to get back in touch. It's not a good time for you right now. That's perfectly okay. If anything in your experience with me today has led you to think of somebody who would probably benefit from this type of a service, please pass them along to me. And it may not be a good time for you to coach with me right now, whether it be financial or any other reason, but when you are ready, just as a thank you for passing them along to me, I would love to start you off with a free coaching session. Just really creating value for them and making it extraordinary and giving them a compelling reason to stay connected with you and to come back. When I say that connection is important to me, that's it right there. Building rapport, connecting, creating value, making people want to come back to you because they know you've got something real good that you have to offer them. For me, probably there were two things that have been the biggest struggles for me in building a successful coaching practice. One of them was just simply an after effect of my previous job. So when I left direct sales, I was so burnt out of sales that it ended up becoming a pretty big block for me in starting my own coaching practice. I just didn't want to sell anymore. And that's a part of what we do. I mean, we are selling, our services. We're selling who we are and what results we can bring about for people and how we can leave them feeling like they really made a good investment in themselves. So, and that's a really good way to look at this, by the way, is that people are making investments not in us, but they're investing in themselves. And I really try to make that piece very clear with my clients when I'm talking to them. So after 11 years of building a direct sales business, I was just tired. I was burnt out of selling. So I resisted it. I didn't want to have to market myself. I didn't want to have conversion conversations. I just wanted to coach. So I had to really do a lot of work personally around that piece to get to where I was okay with re-engaging with that process, because it means something different to me now than what it did then. Another big block that I had was attachment to outcome. It's a part of having achievement as one of my core values. Kind of go hand in hand there. But also, the industry I was in was very outcome oriented. So everything was measured by your outcomes. You were successful if you had high sales. You were successful if you led a team that had high sales. You were successful for building leaders, successful for bringing in new people. I mean, these were all outside things. And it was very clear too, because you were marched across stage, because you were a superstar in your industry. You were lauded for all the accomplishments that you had and given trips and this and that. And it was fabulous. If you're recognition driven, that's the industry for you. But it became very hard to then break as a coach, coming into something where, like, I get off of a coaching call where there have been these amazing breakthroughs and I'm feeling so good for these people. And it's like, where's my ribbon? You know, where's the applause and the stage? And, you know, so I had to really get to a place where it wasn't about so much outcomes for me or for my clients too. So that's been a bit of a struggle, but not so much because it's the value of mine, so much as I was so conditioned to that way of thinking and that way of running a business that I've had to work on that. So in thinking about what I would say is my biggest takeaway from this first year in, and what I would want to pass on to coaches who are really starting to get their footing and move along, is to really look at the opportunities that you have that are around you. I've always been very opportunity driven. I love that every day, every moment, every client, every no, every yes, everything is an opportunity to learn a little bit more, to have new experiences. You know, it's so repetitive, but it really is a journey and a process. And it's tempting to want everything right now, for it to be immediate, to see the results of your efforts, getting your certification just to, you know, come into place. But it takes time. Your niche doesn't have to jump out at you right away. That can be a process. Having a perfect website doesn't have to come right away. It can be a process. Just looking at every challenge and thinking, what are at least 3 opportunities in this challenge? Looking at my niche, what are 3 possibilities that I could have? Just really being able to see things from that type of a perspective has helped me to better enjoy this process, get the most out of it, not have blinders on because I'm so laser focused on only one right way to have this all happen, has really been key. And I read something about a week or 2 ago that authenticity is something that it can come very naturally, but it can also take a lot of work. And, you know, we think like, oh, if I'm just authentic and I let it all flow, things will come to me. And yes, that's, I think, a big thing, but it also takes work. This process, this business, this industry, it takes work. And the who is authentic. The what and the how take work. And if you're willing to embrace that and be authentic in that process and know that it's practice, it's time, and it's work, oh my gosh, things will flow.